Hey guys, this is Aman from Tech Unwind 9, and today we're talking the iPhone SE 2. What? iPhone SE 2 in 2020? That's right, guys. iPhone SE in 2020. Can you believe it? I mean, this is an old phone revamped. So they called it an iPhone SE 2. But really, is it iPhone SE 2 or is it an iPhone 8 on steroids? So Apple decided to come out with three iterations for this phone. So they have the 64 gigabyte, then they have the 128, and then they have the 256 gigabyte. I feel like this was a mistake on Apple's part, but that's my personal opinion, because 64 gigabyte in this stage and age, 2020, is definitely not enough, even for the most basic user. T2. Now, it has a different form factor. We got to talk about this first off because really, when it comes down to it, the actual form factor is exactly the same as iPhone 8. Basically looks exactly the same. There is no difference. And most likely, when we get it in our hand, I feel like we'll be able to use the iPhone 8 case on top of this iPhone SE 2 because it's actually the same size. What changed in this iPhone SE is the internals. It has the A13 Bionic chip inside it, which is amazing. This is what I have in my iPhone 11 Pro Max. I mean, it basically has the best of two worlds. It has the iPhone 8 body, which is a small body, so it's easy to carry in your hand. It doesn't feel like it's uncomfortable to hold with a case, but you have the power of the fastest phone in the world. And this phone is going to be IP67 proof, so that means you can get some, it's dust resistant, a little bit of splash, you're okay with that. You definitely cannot submerge it underwater like you can with other phones. For instance, the IP68 rating that most of the other phones have nowadays in 2020, you can actually submerge it underwater and keep it underwater for 30 minutes at a time if you have to. I believe it's a 3 to 4 meters underwater for about 30 minutes is what you can do with IP68 proof. But this one has 67 proof, which is okay for a $399 starting price. But I think they could have added some kind of sealing around the speakers and any open ports to help fix the problem and make it an IP68 proof. I really feel like they should have probably started out with a 128 gigabyte, 256, and 512, and such on. You know, they could have probably went to a terabyte if they had to. I personally want that option of more storage, and I'll be willing to pay more for it. But I see why Apple did this, because they wanted to keep the cost low. So they kept it at $399 for a 64 gigabyte version. I feel like the $399 should have been 128 gigabyte. That would have been enough for a basic user that probably is not taking too many photos. Maybe this phone would have been perfect for a mom or a dad That's not using the phone too much. Maybe they're just using it for the internet or Google Maps to go here and there, search Amazon, simple things that not everybody is going to be using. That would have been perfect, but 64 gigabyte I feel like is a little too low. So with the price drop, there's a couple of things you're not going to get with this phone. One is you're not going to get the double wide angle. You're only going to get the one wide angle lens on this phone, which is not too bad, but you know, it is something to keep in mind when you're buying this phone. When you get a cheap phone like this, $399, they have to sacrifice on certain things so that way they keep the price low for everybody to be able to get this phone. It's going to keep the portrait mode with the studio lighting and also the basic lighting for any situation. It's also going to have video stabilization at 1080p and 720p. Now the front-facing camera on this iPhone SE 2 is going to have a 7 megapixel camera with a f2.2 aperture, which is not too bad in my opinion for the price range. For those of you that are into photography, this is going to be able to give you the advanced bokeh mode. So I don't know, in 2020 with bezels this big, does this phone sell? In my opinion, yeah, I think this phone will sell pretty good because just the one factor is it's easy to use. Now the second factor, the price range. Starting at $399 and competing with Android phones for the first time, really competing with Android phones, I feel like they're going to make a killing on this phone. So now one benefit with this phone, especially in the age of all the coronavirus things happening around the world, this has Touch ID, which is brought back again versus Face ID. I know with masks, everybody's wearing masks nowadays. It's very hard for Face ID to recognize the person with a mask on. So this is really going to help you out and keep things moving a little bit faster to get into your phone versus Face ID. So with the price drop, there's a couple of things you're not going to get with this phone. One is you're not going to get the double wide angle. You're only going to get the one wide angle lens on this phone, which is not too bad, but you know, it is something to keep in mind when you're buying this phone. When you get a cheap phone like this, $399, they have to sacrifice on certain things so that way they keep the price low for everybody to be able to get this phone. So I will have an unboxing coming out pretty soon for this iPhone SE 2. If you guys like this video, subscribe, like, and hit the bell icon so you can see that video coming up as soon as this phone gets released and sent out to me. Until next time, take care guys and be safe.